According to official figures, Singapore has one of the highest myopia rates in the world, and experts say it's partly due to poor reading habits. But what would it take to teach children good reading habits? Larry Au was concerned that bad reading habits might make his niece myopic later on.
Okay, first of all, we have this advertisement on the myopia problem have been increasing in Singapore by Ministry of Environment. And secondly, after showing the advertisement, I saw my niece laying around reading her books with some bad lighting conditions.
Bugged by this problem, Larry, a Temasek Polytechnic student, decided to do something about it. When he mentioned his cousin's poor reading habits to his engineering classmate, Chi Ming, it provided the germ of an idea for their final year project. They decided to invent a gadget that would act as a watchdog against bad reading habits. The idea was a desktop that sounded an alarm if you read too close, in bad lighting conditions, or if you read for too long a period. The project would require the extensive use of sensors and circuit programming, and the team had only 5 months to come up with a working prototype. Larry had also failed the subject related to this technology a few months back, but he wasn't in the least discouraged and had tried again.
When I retake it, I did pretty well for these subjects, so I was quite confident with this.
In fact, even before they started on their project, the team already had big dreams.
When we're doing these projects, of course we would like to have a good grades because it's our final projects. So at that time, we also have known these Tangkaki awards. Things we want to give it a try also. So we try to implement a lot of things into our projects, into our inventions, so that we can outclass other team.
They thought of creating their intelligent desktop on an existing table, but from their research, they knew that the ideal reading table should be inclined. So using plastic and wood, they constructed their own tabletop, which could be inclined at 45 degrees. They installed a sensor that will detect if someone is reading too close to the table. There's another sensor to tell if the lighting condition is too dark or too bright. Instead of an alarm that simply buzzes at every bad reading habit, the team wanted one that pointed out your mistakes. They decided on pre-recorded messages that tell you what you're doing wrong. So they installed a voice chip.
You're too close to the book.
They also added an LCD panel that tells you how long you've been reading. But in thinking up all these extra features, they didn't pay enough attention to setting up such an intricate circuit. In electronics, one loose wire can affect the entire circuit, so great care is needed to fix the whole thing together. They realized that when things started to go haywire 2 weeks before their deadline.
We have this feeling that the program is right, the circuit is right. And we are really quite confident it's because due to a human error when we're doing the shouldering, connecting the circuit into our tables.
So they checked the entire circuit once again, putting wires in place properly, and managed to set things right in the nick of time. But just when they thought things were back to normal, their circuit chose to act up yet again, on the day they had to submit their project for the Tangkaki Awards. The team realized that due to the rush, some components and wires had gotten dislodged and caused the problems. Once again, they set things right as they did before, and with that, they won a merit award and $3,000 in the competition. Here's how the eye care table works. When you sit down, a sensor detects your presence and triggers the timer. Meanwhile, the LCD panel displays how much time you've spent reading. When the recommended reading time of 40 minutes is up, the buzzer sounds and stops only when you leave to take a break. But that's not all. If you start reading too close to the desk, the table will tell you so.
You're too close to the book.
It will also inform you if your reading environment is too dark,
The light is too dim.
or too bright.
The light is too bright.
The table is portable and now made smaller to suit children.